Hello and welcome to another Game Nexus video. Today we're going to be taking a look at this crazy looking little handheld in my hand right now. This is what's called a Nokia N-Gage. This was an attempt by Nokia to make a handheld game system that also functioned as a telephone. Now, if you've never seen one of these before, this is the original model. I got this like brand new in the box, like not used, years and years ago. And this is your numerical keypad, which would be for, making calls. I believe 5 and 7 are your action buttons. That's why they're kind of like a different color. And of course, this is your D-pad. That's for answering calls. That's for hanging up. One of these like does the menu and everything. And yeah, that's the basic general gist. You have your 2-port headset thing where one is for hearing, one is for microphone. On the side here, you have that USB connector, which honestly, I'm not crazy understanding what all the USB connectors are called, if that's mini, micro, or otherwise, but it's the PlayStation 3 one, I think, and then there's the charging port. On the top here, you have your, I believe this is the microphone, or, yeah, this is the speaker, and then the microphone is this little dot here. So in order to actually talk on this phone, you would have had to take it, hold it on the side here, and your head would be here. And it got the whole name of taco talking because it felt like you were holding a taco in your hand. And then on the other side here is the power button, which we will turn it on in just a couple minutes here. But I figured just for fun here, in no particular order, I will show you my N-Gage collection, which I bought all these games really cheap when nobody cared still about this system. So we have Crash Nitro Kart. And now whenever they say 1 to 4 players, there was an online service that this system had, and I do believe, correct me if I'm wrong, you could actually do multiplayer. But yeah, there's the instruction manual here, decent instruction manuals with these, and then there's the little MMC card, which is not an SD card, mind you. And some games would have a little case here to hold all your cards. A few of these were used and they weren't brand new, so they didn't have that. Then we have Not a Game at All, also known as Sega's Virtual Tennis, Sega Professional Tennis. I have no idea why there is nothing on the spine at all. It's like, well, you know what? We're going to make a game for that new system, but let's not print anything on the spine. Nobody needs to know what game this is when it's like on a shelf. That's a good idea, guys. Remember that. Well, if you wanted to see that one opened here really quick. Oh, and there's that little case thing. I think once I'm done showing you all these, on the last one, I might show you how that little thing works. But yeah, that's Virtua Tennis. Then we have Path to Glory. Only on N-Gage, they claim. But I would imagine a lot of these games might have got ported to other mobile phones of the time, so they may not only be on N-Gage anymore. This one has a little Connect to N-Gage Arena thing, and then there, of course, is the instruction manual. I always like it when you get these little pamphlets with your games because they kind of give you a view of the times, so you could be like, oh wow, that's what they were promoting then. Then we have the original Red Faction shooter on the N-Gage, which, if I recall correctly, I did boot this up once or twice, and honestly, surprisingly enough, this is a serviceable version of Red Faction. It actually is pretty fun. And yeah, in my upcoming videos showing off a bit more of this niche system, I will show a bit more of what it looks like to play on the N-Gage. Then we have Glimmerati, which I believe this is a racing game, but I'm not 100% sure. A lot of these games, I just simply bought them, and it was like just to get more N-Gage games, and it's kind of one of those things. If I ever see them at like a yard sale or Salvation Army or something, and like they're just in the corner or something, this one doesn't have the little case either, I would be more than happy to pick up some more of these games, but for now, what you're going to see today is what I have. And then we have EA Sports FIFA 2004. Another sports game. Odds are I probably never played this one ever at all. It's just kind of one of those shelf filler type games, as I tend to call them. It makes me look like I have more games, but I'll probably never play that. Then we have Call of Duty for the N-Gage. And I still remember X-Play, they'd have that guy pretend to be Patrick Stewart, and he'd be like, "This is Patrick Stewart. I'm going to show off the new Call of Duty game for the N-Gage." I always liked those skits. They were funny. This one has another one of those little, look at our software catalog for the N-Gage type deal. And I remember seeing this in GameStop, the whole N-Gage system, and I was thinking to myself, I wonder if like cell phones and games could actually work, because cell phones like don't do anything. They just play Snake. But yeah, here's Tony Hawk's Pro Skater for the N-Gage. And I wouldn't doubt it at this point, knowing how crazy modders are. There's probably somebody who got like the multiplayer up and running on this thing again. And I've only ever owned the original N-Gage model. I've never owned a QD. And since my original N-Gage there works absolutely fine, there's legitimately no reason for me to get the other one unless I found it like super cheap. But here's SSX Out of Bounds, which is a snowboarding game. I played a little bit of some of the SSX games on Xbox, but little to no experience. And as you can see, the little card can actually sit on any of these slots if you really want it to. Then we have MotoGP, which is a motorcycle racing game. I think there's actually an arcade game on one of the Namco systems as well of MotoGP. I'm not sure if it's the same game or if it's just a coincidental title. Got a bunch more here. Then we have Pandemonium. This is a platformer which was popular on the PlayStation. I've played a little bit of the N-Gage version and it actually seems pretty good. If I had to like gauge N-Gage graphics, I'd say they're ever so slightly below PlayStation quality. Then we have Operation Shadow, a game that I really don't know much at all about. Other than, you know, I have it, it's part of my collection. There's a lot of those games where, you know, you just end up getting them with other games and you don't really know much about them, but it's kind of one of those things. Maybe now that I have the N-Gage out again and I'm going to play a bit of it, I will learn a bit more about it. And then we have Virtua Tennis again, but this copy is sealed. I think this copy came with the other one or from another auction, but I figured since I already had an open copy of Virtua Tennis, let's keep this one sealed in case it becomes worth $1 million someday. You never know. But then we have Rayman 3, which actually this one is in the system. I will show you that later. As you can see, it's here. So at some point I'll probably pop this out because today, which is Monday, September 22nd, when I'm recording this, I'm actually receiving a couple of MMC cards that I will use to load quote-unquote extra software on the N-Gage. And then we have the Ashen game, which is a pretty cool first-person shooter from what I've played of it. I can remember this one heavily advertised when the system was like kind of relevant. Only a couple more to go here. We have WWE E Aftershock, which I'm guessing is a wrestling game. Although, considering Crush Hour was a thing, you never know. Yeah, it's definitely a wrestling game. You can kind of see by the screenshot here. Okay, then we have Puyo Pop, which of course is a puzzle game. Tiger Woods PGA Tour 2004, yet another shelf filler game, because unless a golf game got a hook to it, like Outlaw Golf or something, or whatever that Game Track one that I've eventually got to putz about with the Game Track and get that to work. Yeah, I'm not going to play a regular old golf game. Okay, then we have Marcel Desailly Pro Soccer. I don't know if his Pro Soccer is somehow better than FIFA or something. I guess we'll have to take a look at that one. And then, of course, yet another one of the absolutely heavily advertised games, Tomb Raider starring Lara Croft, which kind of features her Angel of Darkness art. And I can remember when I first saw this, I was like, wow, that's like something you can do on a phone. And then we have Sonic N, which I believe is just a pretty cheap port of Sonic Advance on the Game Boy Advance, with a really weird screen aspect ratio, since unfortunately the N-Gage screen is portrait, not landscape. And then finally, the game I legitimately bought the system for, The Elder Scrolls Travels Shadow Key. Because this was pretty much the game I bought it for, as there was no Duke Nukem on the N-Gage. And really quick here, I'll show you how these case things work. You see, it's basically just a flat piece of plastic, folds in half like this. If I can only hold it, of course. Folds in half like this, snaps together, and there's your little N-Gage case that can hold a couple of N-Gage cards. And a lot of the games, they just came with one, kind of like here. As you can see, I had a couple games that it was missing, but it's no big deal. But as we've gone through all the painstaking process of looking at all the N-Gage games, now let's take a look at the N-Gage itself, which, if you're wondering, comparing it to a DVD case, it's a pretty small system. This is the Halo, the Fall of Reach DVD that I had bought at Salvation Army over the weekend. But yeah, it's a fairly small system, and if you want something that'll give you a little bit more idea of its size, here's an Atari 2600 cartridge. It's ever so slightly bigger than it, but let's go ahead and power on this beast and just take a quick look at the operating system. The nice thing is it has a nice backlit screen, so you're not gonna do any straining. The battery is modular, so you can take it out, replace it. Don't worry about will my system power up today, will it not? Because it's a fairly standard cell phone battery of the time, and you can actually still get one of these because I had replaced this one. Now, if I can only... SIM card registration failed, which is fine. One of these buttons actually gets me to the menu. That'll just do a 5. There we are. There's the menu. And now you can see it's got normal things like our telephone, contacts, calendar, messages, media, extras, tools, profiles, and there's our Rayman game. So I think we just hit our 5 button maybe? Or options, open. There we go. Now it's going to launch Rayman 3, and you'll see it shows Rayman Arena, N-Gage Arena, Game Loft, and yeah, here's our... Oh wow, that's actually pretty loud. Let me see. That's the speaker. Press a key. Just want to give you a quick little look at some gameplay here on the old N-Gage. And then there's a little bit of a story thing here. Which, since this system really didn't do much full motion video, that's kind of what you got. They probably could actually, because it's just an MMC card. But as you can see, it's got a nice, vibrant LCD screen here. Let me see. Okay, so the 5-button jumps, the 7-button attacks, because as I said, those are your action buttons. Wow, I haven't played this in like forever. Oh, I forgot about Rayman's whole helicopter thing. Yeah, but as you can see, this isn't too insane of a game. It's just like a side-scrolling game. But it kind of gives me an opportunity to give you an example of what the LCD looks like on this, which it's a pretty vibrant LCD considering. But that's generally what you're experiencing here with your N-Gage. In some of my future videos about this system, I will go ahead and show you some like more intense games. There's some demos and there's some unfinished versions of games because kind of like some of the other systems of its ilk, like the Tapwave Zodiac, this was not too long-lived of a system. But let's go ahead and I just want to go ahead and shut the device off. I just want to show you the one Achilles heel that a lot of people hated from this thing. You would have to do this. Push the little button here. Pull the back off. There's our Rayman 3 game. So the only way to get this game out, there's our SIM card, which used to work. I actually used this as a phone a couple times when I was a bit younger, but pull that out, and there's our game. And that's the only way to take out a memory card or put it in another game. The QD has a game cartridge slot, but pretty much when it comes to N-Gage here, the original, that's about it. And then you take your battery, put it back in, and there you go. There's your system is now back together and ready to game again. You can also swap that with an MMC card, so you can load more stuff or put some music or something on. From what I hear, this system tolerates 512 megabyte cards and 1 gigabyte cards. I've heard some people online say it can take 2 gigs, but it's kind of hit or miss when it comes to that. But that's my basic like overview of both the N-Gage hardware itself and my not too paltry collection. I could have less games, of course, but yeah, that's all I'm going to show you right now for the Nokia N-Gage. In a future video, I can show you more games if there's a game you'd like featured in a future video, or if you care about this thing at all, just let me know. And did you have an N-Gage, or did you ever buy one of these? As I said, I bought mine online. I probably got it long after this thing was kind of dead, but it was just kind of a curiosity because I wanted to play some Elder Scrolls. But yeah, that's all for this video, and I shall see you in my next video. Bye.